Eliud Kipchoge. So the routine, the preparation has been absolutely spot on. They haven't changed anything at all. 2:47 through the first kilometre.
Which, well, it's very early days, but it gives them a projected time of just outside 2 hours. They're still on schedule for under 2 hours at the moment, approaching 5K again. So metronomic running from Kipchoge and the pacemakers so far. Yeah, but he looks good, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He's powerfully built. I mean, there's a little bit of the Kennedy Sebekele about him. 28:27 there.
Just outside last year's 10K split.
Well, that's good, Chris. I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
A little bit more conservative. Well, Kindi is a bit of a mystery man.
Extraordinary, isn't it? I mean, we hope he finishes the race, but 16 seconds then inside world record pace.
How did Kindi almost run into the back of Kipchoge? The Kipchoge cut across him, I guess, and
Yeah, he won't thank him for that.
so he was 7 seconds outside 2-hour tempo at 15K, Eliud Kipchoge, and I think that's a good thing. I think that's just out perfect. Could we see, Chris, up 2-hour clocking this morning? We have to start talking about that because they're approaching halfway.
60:22 at halfway.
I think that's just about perfect.
Tim, a little smile, a little grimace just appeared on the face of Eliud Kipchoge.
They're not going to get the world record, and never mind about the 2-hour barrier. So he is a class performer, is Kindi, but there is still an element of mystery around this fellow whose best is outside 2:08, and he's operating at a tempo about 8 minutes quicker than that. 45 seconds outside the splits of last year.
Now then, is this Kipchoge on his bike and making his move? There is, for the first time, some clear daylight. Page, there it is, Kindi, and we're not surprised. He was redlining for most of the race, and his race is over. The smile's back on the face, he's lifted his legs, the arms are working harder.
And around the time that Kindi dropped out, Kipchoge strode onwards, so the sun came out. The greatest marathon runner in history on the men's side, Eliud Kipchoge, still bouncing along wonderfully well. Barring disaster, Chris, heading for his 5th victory on the streets of Berlin.
I think nobody would argue that he's the greatest marathon runner in history, but there's a determination now on the face of Eliud Kipchoge, who's striding out towards what would be victory number 16 in 19 races. Quite extraordinary.
And that chasing group, that chasing pair, Chris, have got him in their sights now.
But they are still significantly behind, but the question is, are they gaining? And if so, by how much? And have they got enough road left?
Well, Chris is 38th kilometre at 3:03. The world record holder, the defending champion, is tiring.
The numbers now go out of the window. This is all about racing. And that gap is getting narrower and narrower. Just over 2 kilometres to go.
55, he has rallied, maybe got a little glance at those behind him.
31 seconds at 40K, so they've made up 16 seconds over 5 kilometres. The gap is still a reasonably healthy.
Competitive instincts coming to the surface now as he realises he's in danger and he's having to dig very, very deep in.
Surely now, he can't be beaten. The clock ticks round. There he can now. There is the Brandenburg Gate. And from there, he knows it's less than a lap of the track in track terms.
Gets there in first place with a gap behind him, then he can enjoy those last 352 metres to the finish line. He can stride out, wave to the crowd, and accept his 5th victory. He's nearly home and dry.
He's been here so many times before, the crowd going crazy. The victory is secure. At one point, we were talking about sub 2 hours. At another point for much of the race, we talked about a new world record. That's not to be, but Eliud Kipchoge now is on his way to victory number 5 here in Berlin. Kipchoge, 2:02.40 the winning time. The world record not bothered today, but he won't mind. He moves ahead of Haile Gebrselassie with a 5th victory in total in Berlin. That's 16 wins in 19 marathons.